I didn't believe in love anymore. Not after everything I'd been through. Not after watching people promise forever and walk away before sunrise. Not after losing the version of myself that used to hope. But then, she sat in front of me, quiet, gentle, smiling in a way that felt like sunlight breaking through years of clouds. And in that moment, I realized something I never thought I would again. Love still existed. And for the first time in years, it existed for me. There was a time when my life felt like a series of unfinished moments. Wake up. Work. Come home. Pretend everything was fine. Repeat. I wasn't unhappy. But I wasn't happy either. I existed in that dull space between the two, where nothing hurt badly enough to cry, but nothing felt good enough to smile. Most days, the apartment felt too quiet. Most nights, the world felt too loud. And somewhere along the way, I stopped expecting anything good to happen. I told myself I was too busy for love. That relationships were too messy, too unpredictable, too fragile for someone like me. But the truth, I was just scared. Scared of being disappointed again. Scared of giving someone the power to break me. Scared that maybe I wasn't someone worth loving in the first place. Love didn't feel real anymore. Not the kind I used to believe in. Not the kind that filled stories, movies, or songs. Until her. I still remember the moment she stepped into my world. It was an ordinary Saturday morning at the little coffee shop near my apartment. A warm, cozy place with wooden tables, big hanging lights, and the smell of freshly ground beans drifting through the air. I sat in my usual corner. Black coffee. Laptop open. Pretending to be productive. The door swung open, and a soft breeze followed someone inside. Her. She wasn't loud or dramatic. She didn't demand attention. But somehow, every part of the room shifted the moment she walked in. She wore a light sweater, hair tied loosely, eyes scanning the room with quiet curiosity. There was a softness to her, something calm, steady, almost healing just to look at. And for the first time in what felt like years, someone pulled my attention without even trying. She ordered her drink, something warm and sweet. Then she looked around for a seat. The shop was unusually crowded, and the only empty chair was at my table. She walked over with that gentle smile. "Is this seat taken?" Her voice was soft, warm, melodic. I shook my head. "No. Go ahead." She thanked me and sat down, placing her drink in front of her. I tried to look busy, typing nonsense into my document. But every few seconds, my eyes drifted toward her. There was something strangely peaceful about her presence. Something grounding. And then, she laughed. Quietly, to herself, at something on her phone. It was such a pure sound, light, unforced, genuine. A sound I didn't realize I'd been missing in my life. I glanced at her again. She caught me this time. Our eyes met. She smiled. And in that split second, something inside me softened, like a frozen part of my chest thawed after years of winter. A week passed. Then another. I kept going back to that coffee shop. Not because I expected to see her, but because being in the place where we met made the world feel a little less empty. I didn't see her. Until the day I wasn't trying to. I was walking home late in the evening, carrying groceries, when I heard someone call out, "Wait. Hold on." I turned around. It was her. She was holding her hands to her knees, catching her breath. "I knew it was you," she said, smiling a little too brightly for someone who had just run across the street. "You ran after me." She nodded. I wasn't letting the universe waste a second chance. My heart, that quiet, tired heart, fluttered. We walked together that evening, talking like old friends. I learned her name, her favorite color, her fear of elevators, her love for poetry, her habit of overthinking, her belief that everything, every heartbreak, every mistake, leads us exactly where we're supposed to go. Even this moment. I asked softly. She looked at me with those warm eyes. especially this moment. We didn't fall in love instantly. It wasn't a dramatic rush. It was slow, gentle, natural, like sunlight slowly filling a dark room. She started showing up in the little spaces of my life: a good morning message, a shared playlist, a photo of something that reminded her of me, a random thought she didn't want to forget. And each time, she gave me a piece of light I didn't know I needed. She taught me how to smile again, how to soften again, how to believe again. She taught me that love isn't always loud or overwhelming. Sometimes, it's quiet. Sometimes, it's patient. Sometimes, it looks like sitting beside someone in silence and feeling understood. With her, the world felt warmer. The days felt lighter. The nights felt softer. I didn't fall in love with her all at once. I fell in love every time she remembered the little things, laughed without holding back, stayed when I pulled away, listened when I struggled to speak, and looked at me like I was someone worth loving. One evening, we sat on the balcony of her apartment. Warm tea in our hands. Soft lights above us. A quiet song playing from her phone. She leaned her head against my shoulder. "I'm glad we met," she whispered. "Me too." She was quiet for a moment. Then, I didn't think love still existed. I turned to her. "What do you mean?" "I've been let down before, hurt before. I stopped believing." Her voice trembled slightly. "But then I met you, and suddenly, everything felt possible again." I felt my chest tighten, that familiar ache of emotion I had long forgotten. I took her hand. I didn't think love still existed either. I whispered, "Until you." She looked up at me, eyes full of something deep and sincere. And when she smiled, I knew that the pieces of me I thought were lost forever, she helped me find them again. We're not perfect. We still have days when we misunderstand each other, when life gets heavy, when fears creep in. But now, we face it together. She became the reason mornings feel peaceful, the reason nights feel soft, the reason my heart feels safe again. And me. I became someone who believes again. Not because she fixed me, but because she reminded me of something simple: love doesn't disappear. Sometimes it just waits for the right person to bring it back. And she did. If you're listening to this, I hope you find someone who brings color back into your world. Someone who makes you feel lighter, softer, understood. Someone who reminds you that love still exists, not just in stories, but in the quiet hearts of real people, like you. And when love arrives, hold it gently. Let it heal you. Let it grow. Let it stay. Because sometimes the most beautiful stories are the ones we stopped believing could happen. Thank you for listening to Love and Us. If this story touched your heart even a little, I hope you'll stay for the next one. There's so much love still left to tell.